excited to jump in with this tutorial with you that I'm not even going to give an intro. I'm just going to talk about this tutorial on digital watercolor, and we're going to make kind of a loose watercolor bouquet. Um, I have discovered the absolute best watercolor brushes for Procreate that exist on the market. I don't care anything that I've said previously ever. These are the best, and we're going to play together here. So, get out of here. I'm just going to create a new canvas. I'm going to do it screen size. So I'm in Procreate. I press this icon at the top here that is a plus symbol, and then I'm just going to go screen size for now. And the watercolor brushes, I've linked them below. They're everything watercolor, and you can find them at Design Cuts, which, I mean, I know I've mentioned Design Cuts before, but I swear everything that lives on that platform is made out of gold, because it's like, it actually works. So it's called Everything Watercolor, and I just want to show you how many brushes there are. Look at this. It's insane. It just keeps going and going and going. And I sampled them like not even 5 minutes ago. I just got them, so I'm probably not going to be able to cover everything. Well, I'm obviously not going to be able to, but I did write down some of my favorites, so just in sampling them that we're going to play together with. So the other thing is you want to pick a palette. I've got a Watercolor Splashes palette, and this is what I'm going to use. I have this available linked below as well. And let's jump in. So I'm just gonna select a color here. And the reason I have these as bright colors is just they show up so much better. You can of course go into your disc and make any adjustments that you want to in the process. So it's just kind of a good starting point. So loose watercolor florals. I like to start with my buds and the flowers themselves before I go into stems or anything. So I'll go with, how about this pinkish color? Let's see. Yeah, that's a good color. So think about your composition. I'm doing a bouquet, so I'll probably stay within this area. So I'll make that larger so my work space is easier to see. And then I'm just going to jump in. So the brush that I was most impressed with is called, it's literally called Push Down for Color. So I'm gonna find that, here you go. Push Down for Color. So this is incredible because, so you can obviously push down for color. I want a lighter color, I think. Yeah, so make that smaller. Okay, push down for color. And then check it out. It is accompanied by push down for water. And then you can come in, make that larger, and it will like blur what you did so it looks more like watercolor. It's so cool. The other brush I wanted to show you guys was Inky Wash. So let me find that real quick. There's just so many. I mean, you'll find your favorites, but I'm sure you'll just keep discovering them. Where is it? Inky Velvet was what it... No, I've got Inky Wash and Inky Velvet. Okay, well, let's do Inky Velvet. So this one has, I'm gonna make this darker now. It's got kind of this awesome texture to it that you can see as you are creating. And then obviously if you go over it again, it adds depth, which I love. And then pairing that with a, let's see, okay, that's at the bottom. Pairing it with an edger. So I saw that there's edgers in here. So there's like a hard edge, which looks like this. So it has that hard edge. And then there's also, let's see, the wet bleed edge booming seep. This one's really cool. Is it? Oh, blooming, whatever. So it looks like it's like seeping. So that was cool if you take that to the edge here. I guess I should go on this side. But it just kind of looks like it's coming off of it, which is really pretty. Dark Edge Bleeder was another one that I made note of that I really liked. Let's see if I can find it. See, I think that we're just gonna be experimenting together since I'm not able to find it super fast. Whenever I have oh, here's Inky Wash. This is what I was talking about earlier. Yeah, see, and then you can layer that over. Whenever I have this situation where I have so many brushes in a pack and I have my favorites, I will take one and then drag it to the top. Just hold it until it gets to the very top. And that way I know exactly where to reference it. Look how many brushes are in here. It's crazy. There we go. Okay, so I'm gonna use this a lot because I really, really like it. I like the texture that it creates. So, all right, so I'm about that big, and then I'm gonna push this over here and then create some more little buds. And I just do this really loosely. So you can see I kind of bring it up on the sides and then a little in the middle and maybe right here. So essentially my brush is just doing that, but kind of all together. And then you can layer it a little bit more with some more, like lift your brush up and then come back in and do that. And then like right here, so I'm gonna go and I'm just gonna experiment here with that push down for water brush and see what happens. Yes, so I'm gonna make that smaller and see how it just blurs that out. It'll blur out those overlaps if you don't want them to be hard, like hard edges. So that's kind of a fun effect. I'm gonna take this, I don't know how they made this like this. It's just so cool. Okay, so this one was another one. Saturated water smudger. I mean, it's so cool. Okay, so I'm going to do that a little bit on each of those. And then I might make this one a little smaller and closer. Okay. And now I'm gonna do one more of these flowers, but maybe have it more face up. I'm gonna drag this one to the top with my other one. It's that saturated water smudger. Come on. I wish this would be faster. Okay, well, oh, there we go. So get that to the top. Here we go, there. And then go back to my inky velvet. And then I'll probably, yeah, see how I'm just doing the same motion, but I'm doing it outwardly, so it's like making petals almost. I'm gonna do that. Maybe not do so many layers, so there we go. And then I can play with these edges. So like flecked hard edge has a really cool effect. Seep edge bumpy, that's a cool one. It's pretty extreme though, so it depends on what you're pairing it with. I probably wouldn't use that for what I'm doing, but this one's really cool. This is called damp and dry. So if you come in here and make that smaller, then you can always add, see how that's just adding that edge on? Look at that. Oh, it's so good. It looks so realistic to actual watercolors. I can't handle it. I just love it. Okay, and then maybe a couple other places like through here. And it's just kind of showing you brush strokes. But another thing, like, you know, when you have water that's pooling and it's really kind of transparent toward the center, you can show that edge with using something like this. Look how much added character that presents. It's amazing. I love it so much. Okay, so that was called damp and dry. I'm gonna go ahead and put that up to the top too. If it will let me, there we go. Keep going. Oh, I am at the top. Cool. And, all right, so I've got my main flowers here. When I switch to other flowers, I like to actually go in and do a new layer. And that's not, I mean, obviously you can't do that on paper, but I like to do it digitally because then I can move things around and it's not gonna mess with my previous layers. So I'm gonna grab an orange, and for this I'm just gonna make some filler flowers, so they're not gonna be anything too spectacular, but I need a different brush for that. So let's see, dark edge. I think those are the ones I wanted to show you mostly, but I just wanna see if I can find that one that I was talking about. Oh, I think Inky Wash. So that one is a lot more, the edges are a lot cleaner. So if you wanted to do something like that, see how that creates that really pretty watercolor effect? And that's just being controlled by pressure. So if I could press down hard, it's going to be nice and dark, but if I go lighter, it's going to create more of that water effect. So I'm going to do that in a couple of places. And it's just like little filler flowers, anywhere that I think that it might benefit from, there we go, some little added pops of color. There we go. And now I can add greenery. So I'm gonna click the plus here and then go into my colors, grab a green. I'm gonna go to a more vibrant green, or I guess those are vibrant. What am I saying? More neutral green. No, I don't think I want to actually. This is what happens when I choose colors. Okay, I'm gonna go up to this kind of olivey, dark olivey green. Now, I'm gonna drag this up to the top. I wanna grab something that will make really good stems. And so that could be I wish there was an easier way to do this. That could be something as easy or as simple as like a line edger, or you could make a brush that you like really, really small. So let's look at wet bleed edge. Okay, so that would be kind of too bold. If I made it really small, it might work, but I still want something a little sharper. So this says moist sharp. That might be nice. Yeah, that's a pretty one, but even so, I'm just gonna look at a few more. Simple visible bristles. Okay, so if that's large, then it looks like this. And this one, pressure sensitivity doesn't matter. It just starts to trail off as you continue. And controlled. Okay. And then watercolor eraser. See, like the brushes in here are insane. I'm so happy. These ones are really cool too. I was sampling them. It's really good for like larger spaces. Look at that. It just creates really easy like background washes and things like that. There's also sketch pencils. So like, oops. You can come in and actually add some texture and grit, kind of like a mixed media effect. Staging. Yeah, so really like it's kind of up to you as far as what you want to do with the effect and what it actually looks like design-wise, the vibe that you're going. Stems to me are one of those things that I'm so picky about, which is why this is taking me longer than it should. I'm just gonna go with probably, yeah, that'll work. So I'm gonna make that real small and just create some stems. Make sure I'm on a new layer. Okay, but the thing about my stems, I like to make them, just gonna come through here, and then I'm gonna drag this layer to the bottom and see how that makes it kind of sit behind a little bit so it's not as obvious. But what I like to do is either go over this one more time, or I like to duplicate the layer and see how it just makes it more vibrant, and then I'll merge those together. And now I like to add ink to my pieces. Well, before that I'll do some leaves here. So I'm gonna go back to my inky velvet, and then I'm gonna add some leaves in and just press down to create that flow. I think I wanna do this more in one stroke. There we go. And then press down to make that stroke. Maybe again at the very bottom. And then when you're happy with that, you can always erase. So there's the, I saw that watercolor eraser, and I think what that is doing is it's going to make it so that the edges are still kind of gritty like that. Yeah, so see how it's making the edges, it's not affecting that finish by making it too smooth, which is nice because I don't want all this extra stuff in there. I just want it to be that nice shape. You could get that if you made the brush smaller. I just hadn't, so that's fine. Okay, so now that that is done, I can go in and I can add that edge that I really like, the damp and dry, and add that in here. So see how it kind of just looks like it was placed there, and then the water spread, and then it has that remaining line. Love it. Okay, now I add kind of that ink effect. So I'm gonna go to a new layer, and I'm actually gonna use that sketching pencil that was in here, if I can find it, sketch pencil. And I go black, I like black, and then I can go in and I can just add, I'm gonna make that smaller, add little details here. Like, they're like little round circles, and then do that here as well. And this sketch pencil for me, while it is really nice and organic looking, I want to see what it looks like when I duplicate it. Okay, that's better. I think that that's not for me though. I think that I'm gonna try, I want something a little more bold. Oh yeah, the scratch ink, the Japanese, this looks really pretty when it's just used separately, but I'm gonna see how it looks when it's really small. Okay, that's better. I just like it a little bolder. And this brush is cool because you can see it has that varying flow texture, but then it also has the varying width. So it makes it really fun to play with, and that'll be really pretty with like other types of art too. Like if you wanted to do florals just in this brush, that would be really cool. Okay, so once that's done, maybe make this is why I like doing them in layers, make that a little smaller, and then I might add a little bit of detail to these guys, just some like lines in there, just so they have a little something. And then I like to add a little bit of line work to my flowers, but nothing too crazy. This is a really pretty brush just to use as like an inking brush. I like the transparency. Okay, so I'm just gonna add a few more of those, nothing too much. I don't wanna take away from that nice loose watercolor effect. And then my leaves. Okay, and that looks good to me. So from here, I could be done, but I wanna show you, I'm gonna move these up. I wanna show you this really cool addition that she, I don't know if it's a she, I don't know who added them or who created these, but I wanna show you this really cool addition because this blew my mind. So if you scroll in about the middle-ish here toward the bottom, look at all of these different texture brushes for paper. There's groovy paper, rough paper, crisp, hand press, super smooth, ordinary, posh. They're all finishes for watercolor. So I'm gonna pick this hand pressed one, and I'm gonna pick, I'm not gonna get white, but I'm gonna get kind of off-white, and then maybe more of a ivory, okay? And then I'm just gonna make this brush about the size that I need it to be to go over the whole thing. And this might be hard to see, so maybe I'll go in a darker color and then change it just so that you can see the texture that's happening. Okay, it just blew my mind, look. It looks like actual watercolor texture. So if I lighten this, I'm just gonna go to my magic wand and then say recolor, and I can bring that up a little bit so I can pick the color I want. But now it looks like it's on watercolor paper. And then if you were to like decrease the opacity on the flowers or something, then those lines, the edge really shows up more. You could do lines on a separate layer so they stay nice and bold, and then have that watercolor texture coming through. I think that I'm gonna do that texture over because I accidentally did a brush stroke in addition to it. Okay. And then it was making it weird. And I think I might want to lighten it a little bit. No, this is my process. Where did I go? This. Okay. probably a little more white. There we go. Okay, that's better. So yeah, you can see that texture in there, and then I might do the same thing and bump down the opacity of the leaves, and then maybe make the oranges a little more vibrant. So things to play with, but yeah, so I like can't recommend this brush set enough. I can't wait to play with it more. This is just my first go at it. So let me know what you guys think. Again, it's linked below, and we're gonna make some really cool things with this. I'm excited. All right, all for now. Talk to you guys next time.